Right, Tyrone?
Yep. All right. So, let me pull up BoxRec to look at the schedule again.
Yeah.
I'll go date by date here. PBC card tomorrow. Jamal James, the guy who's infinitely stuck in Minnesota, will never fight out.
Oh, God.
Fights Thomas Delorme.
Is that tomorrow, that, did you say?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. What's that on PBC?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. I know that Thomas Susie.
Thomas Delorme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he fought Ugas. I know he fought Jesse Vargas to a draw. But those are the
Yeah.
only ones that I uh in recent memory. I know he also lost to Amir Imam, but that was a ways back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he got knocked
So,
out by Crawford.
yeah. Who else is fighting on that card then?
Nobody of note.
Yeah. If Show if Showtime come out with their card then?
Yeah, Showtime is their lineup starts. I think their real lineup starts. Let me pull this here. Benavidez versus Angulo, apparently.
Oh, right. That's not a bad fight then, is it?
Not the best fight.
No, not the best, but it's always good to see David Benavidez fight. I mean, I wish,
He's a
I wish.
non-starter for me sometimes. He has talent, but he really needs to get going and fight somebody of note.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I take my hat off to him for beating Jarrell because I think Jarrell's a good fighter, but I think that cut what fucked Jarrell up a bit as well, didn't he? Didn't he
Yeah,
get a cut?
yeah, he got cut.
Yeah, but that super middleweight division, mate, that has
It's
got to be
so
the most
boring.
dormant division in boxing. That
Yeah.
welterweights are divas. But that
Hmm.
super middleweight is absolutely dormant. Yeah, you don't even hear of anyone fighting anyone hardly, do you?
Who do they have there? Caleb Plant,
Yeah, Billy Joe
uh,
Saunders,
yeah,
Callum
David
Smith,
Benavidez, and Callum Johnson.
yeah, Callum Smith in it.
Hmm.
None of them are fighting each other.
They're all just waiting for a handout for Canelo to come through.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. I mean,
No.
I have heard talk that excuse me, I have heard talk that Callum Smith was one to be chosen by Canelo, but then I've heard I've not heard anything since I heard it. It seems to have gone stale again.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that it
Mm.
went stale again. I don't know with I don't know what's going on with some of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch an interview a while ago with Billy Joe Saunders, which was pretty. I did watch it because I do like Billy, but I don't out of the ring. I think he's a clown. But
Hmm.
I listened to his interview and I thought, you know what, he was actually right what he was saying because he was saying when he was a middleweight and he beat
Hmm.
David Lemieux. He tried everything in his power with Frank Warren and to get the Canelo or Triple G fights, and they didn't want knowing. So he said
True.
he was chasing him for a couple of years or a year or so, and he said as soon as this COVID's come now, he says he's not had any real good fights since the David Lemieux fight. He says he's well out of shape. He
Hmm.
says Canelo said that he'd fight him, even though he did say nothing was sent, no agreements, no anything, no documents, no nothing was sent to him for fighting. He said it was just word of mouth that Canelo said that he'd fight him. And he said, I'm not fighting Canelo with a couple of weeks' notice. He says, if I fight anyone, or at least a legit fighter, he said, I need a 3-month training camp. He said, if they come to me and with a contract and it's 3 months down the line, he said, yeah, I'd sign it straight away. He said, people think I'm ducking him and that, but he says, I'm not. He says, I'm not going to fight this guy at his demand when I was to try and chase him and he didn't want to know, but all of a sudden he wants to fight me and he wants to fight me on a short notice. He said, fuck that. I'll fight him when I'm ready and when he actually sends a contract.
All right. Well, with him, I really don't even know. I guess he has a point when he beat David Lemieux, but it's funny because we have a problem in this country, I think, like, well, in the US, because when he came over to, well, he fought him in Canada, but when they made Billy Joe versus Lemieux, I mean, there were a whole bunch of people who were picking Lemieux over Billy Joe. I thought they were crazy.
Yeah, facts.
I knew Billy Joe was going to steamroll this guy and even knock him out, and he did. Not knock him out, but it just
he schooled him, didn't he?
Yeah, schooled him. But the guy, I don't know why people make such a big fuss about David Lemieux, but it was more about them not knowing, fighters from overseas. I think vice versa. I think when Errol Spence came to the UK, people didn't really know him.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't. That's very true. And I'll just piggyback off what you just said. I must admit, Tyrone, I thought David Lemieux was going to steamroll Billy Joe, only for the simple fact that I'd seen Billy Joe's last fight against that Scottish guy. I can't think who he was called, and he was fucking terrible. He was awful.
Oh, for the belt? Andy Lee?
Yeah, he was awful.
Andy Lee, I think, is better than
Andy Lee. That's it. Yeah, and
I think Andy Lee is better than David Lemieux, to be honest.
Yeah. Andy Lee's a good fighter. He's not an elite fighter, but he's a solid fighter, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he definitely come unlucky against Callum Smith. A lot of people think he won that fight.
You mean versus Callum Smith?
Yeah, he fought Callum Smith, didn't he?
Andy Lee?
Yeah. Didn't you know that?
I don't think so. Right?
Yeah, you can check it up. I'm sure he did. I could be wrong, but I'm sure he fought Callum Smith in his last fight. Or one of the Smith brothers. I'm sure it was Callum Smith Andy Lee fought. And he lost on points.
No. Mm-mm.
He was Callum Smith's last fight then. And who's he? Andy Lee.
Andy Lee lost to some black dude, or beat some black dude up. Some Keandre Leatherwood. I don't know.
Must be someone else I'm thinking of then. Oh, Stormy's there.
Does he want a link? I can send him a link. I can't see the comment section for some reason. Did it just pop up? No.
See, I'm watching it on my phone. I have got comments up on my laptop, but it's not showing.
Okay, now I see him. Yeah, I see. I can put a link here if anybody wants to join.
Yeah, Stormy will probably get on. Yeah, well, the thing is, with salute to you, Stormy. I hope you're well, bro. The thing is, with that super middleweight division, anyway.
Yeah, very boring.
It is, mate. It's the most stalest, one of the most stalest divisions in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would definitely say for the middleweight as well, that's stale.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Tyrone, at one point he was. Well, I've always thought that the most, in my eyes, being truthfully honest, the most
Mm.
prestigious divisions have always been
Middleweight.
welterweight, middleweight, super middleweight, and heavyweight for me. Them four divisions have always been the main four divisions for me.
Uh-huh.
But in three of the divisions, welterweight is a diva division. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, right now. Like, here's a good fight. Why doesn't Keith Thurman fight Jamal James? Why is Jamal James stuck
Yeah.
in Minnesota?
Yeah. Why is Keith Thurman not fighting Kell Brook? Why is Terence Bud Crawford not fighting Kell Brook?
Right.
Why is Kell Brook not fighting Errol Spence Jr.? Even though I give Spence credit, that's a good fight to come back to after being out for so long over the car crash.
Garcia.
Yeah, I think that's a solid fight.
I think he'll take care of Garcia.
Yeah, I do. I do myself. Tyrone, but I don't think it'll be an easy fight. I don't think it'll be as easy as what people will make out for it to be. But I do think he'll win.
I don't think Garcia will want to throw his hands. Garcia has never been in there with somebody that big. Pause.
Garcia, the thing, I don't know. Danny, he's a good fighter, man. I don't write him off. Me, I think he's very flat-footed, isn't he?
I really thought he would beat Sean Porter.
Yeah.
I really thought Garcia would beat Sean Porter.
Yeah, the thing with Porter, though, Porter's bloody, he's so awkward, isn't he?
But isn't it boring, though, round robin with these four? Spence, Thurman, and Garcia. Yeah. Isn't it boring? Just a rotary with all these guys, mixing and matching for rematches or matchups that, I don't know, it's not. Well, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad fight. Garcia versus Spence is not a bad fight, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before because all their other friends have fought so much. You know, I mean, it's one of those.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Salute, Stormy.
Stormy, how you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'm good, bro. You?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a bit quiet on my end, but I can hear you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is it any better now? Any better?
Yeah, it sounds better. It's a bit the volume's a bit low, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I got my Bluetooth on because I'm trying to relax in my easy chair here.
I've seen that chair, Stormy. I've seen that. Is that the chair you first did your first video in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. It's like a man cave chair, isn't it? What you have in your own little room or something, like a games room.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, just quickly, Tyrone. The thing is with all of these divisions, and especially like say the welterweights, the thing is, you've got Manny Pacquiao who is doing exactly the same as what Keith Thurman did. He don't want to fight Spence. He don't want to fight anyone. He's just maybe looking for one last payday. Keith Thurman's talking shit because he's on the outside looking in. Sean Porter and Bud are best bum pals and don't want to fight each other. Bud just doesn't want to fight anyone. And so I'm quite happy to see Spence and Garcia. It's not the best fight I want to see, but take me hat off to Spence to come back after being out for so long and to fight a credible name. See, I look forward to that fight.
Spence, yeah, Garcia, yeah. I think it is a solid fight, but like what I was saying was, it seems like they're all on a carousel.
Yeah,
Thurman, Porter, Garcia, Spence, because the other ones have fought. You feel like you've seen it before with each of them. I don't know. It's just
yeah,
it's not the wrong choice to fight Garcia. I mean, I think it's the best option available other than Crawford, but it doesn't like pique my interest.
yeah,
It's not his fault, but just me as a consumer. What do
yeah.
you think about
Let
it,
me
Stormy?
chime in. Let me chime in on that for a minute. But first, I
Yeah.
got a question. This is not to put your business out there or anything, Laws D, but just for me to get a feel. Roughly, how old are you? Because I don't
Me,
know.
bro.
I have no idea. Yeah.
I'm 44 in October, Stormy. I was born
Okay.
in
Okay. Good. Good.
October 76.
Okay. Good. So let me pose this because what you were just saying
Yeah,
about these guys not wanting to fight each other, right? So
yeah,
check this out.
yeah,
Isn't it the most weirdest thing at this point in boxing history that none of the quality fighters want to face each other? This is what I've been ragging on about. This is what some of us other guys that you guys call us OGs, and it's like,
yeah.
dude, it is you are old enough to know and have seen
Oh,
that
yeah,
this
yeah,
thing
yeah,
has turned, and it's like there's no excuse for it. Like the latest thing with this Tiafimo and the Lomachenko. What the devil are these people doing? It
facts.
doesn't make sense to me. You just mentioned that about these guys that are like friends that don't want to fight each other. Man, there
Yeah,
were no closer friends than Maurice Blocker and Simon Brown. They fought each other. And
yeah,
it's like these guys, they were quality fighters, champions,
yeah,
pitting their wares against one another. And it's like, there was no love lost, for the guy who was defeated, but he could always say he did it. He put it on the line. He went out there and he faced his opposition, whether it was his bud, best friend, brother-in-law, whatever. It's like this is how you make your money. And I remember Mike Tyson after knocking out Cliff Etienne.
yeah,
He said, "Look, man, this is how we make our money. He's my brother, but he was like he needed a payday. I needed a payday. It's like this is how we feed our families. This is what you do, and
yeah,
you hope that everybody can come out of it well, after they face each other, meaning health wise. But it's like your bank account looks good because you went out there and you fought the quality guy who could bring the payday. Teofimo
facts.
Lopez wanted to turn down the money that they were offering him, and that's money he can't make fighting nobody else.
Yeah,
And he, on top of that, he's trying to say, well, I want more, but you haven't done anything for someone to pay you more. If you go out there, accept the match, fight Lomachenko, whoop Lomachenko, that automatically raises your purse for your next fight.
facts.
Whether it's a rematch with Lomo or the next guy that's up, you automatically get a pay raise.
Yeah,
These guys don't understand. They think that they're supposed to be paid in full before they even do anything.
yeah, yeah. Hey,
And these
Stormy,
people,
sorry, go on,
go
carry
ahead.
on. No,
No,
go on,
no,
bro. I'm
no, go
sorry
ahead.
for putting it. I was
No,
just
but
going to say, no, sorry, go on. I've done it again. Sorry, Stormy, go on.
no, I was just gonna say simply, it's like, listen, when you tell if you have no kids, you have a kid that's down the street or whatever, and you say, hey, I give you 25 bucks, you cut my grass. Okay.
Yeah,
And the kid is like, okay, I'll cut your grass, but I'll cut it for 40 bucks. And you tell him, listen, I offered you 25, but you just blew an opportunity to get a tip if you did the job correctly. You
yeah, yeah,
understand? It's like you don't set the price when somebody's hiring you for a job.
Yeah,
You
exactly. Yeah,
work
yeah,
and you get the you work and you get the benefit of a raise for doing a good job.
yeah.
You see,
Oh,
these young people that they don't understand what the hell it's about, man.
facts.
Now,
Well,
now
that's
go
what,
ahead, Lost. What were you
no,
gonna say?
that's what I was going to say to you, Stormy. What do you think about people saying? Because I've heard a few boxing channels say it this week, saying that it's a clever move by Teofimo Lopez to have done that, to have priced himself out. And I was thinking,
No.
There's
how on
nothing
earth?
clever about that. There's nothing clever about that at all.
And I know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I've heard a few people up and down the boxing channels, even in the LDBC. I've heard a few channels say that it's a smart move, and I was thinking, how the hell is that a smart move when you you're fighting a fighter? Because I heard one brother say, "Well, it's low pay, low pay, high reward." But he was saying that if because he's priced himself out, if he fights him later on down the line, then he's going to make more money. And I was thinking, but how are you going to make more money if you haven't fucking fought him? At the end of the day, Lomachenko holds what is it, two, three belts, and he holds one.
Yeah, I
So
think. Yeah.
how is that clever? And plus, like you said, Stormy, who the hell really is he for? This
Comey.
Richard
That's it.
Comain wasn't
Listen, you talk
anything
you
special.
listen, you're talking about a guy, in Tiafimo in one of his latest fights. He fought the Japanese fighter, which I personally felt he should have lost that fight as far as decision wise, but they give it to him. But he complained after the fight, "Oh, I'm not going to fight any more tall guys. Forget that." And he's trying to talk about how he wants things to be good for him. But I'm
Yeah,
talking about it's fighting, man. Nothing is ever good for you in fighting, but the only thing you can do is try to protect your damn self and
but
come out victorious. It's not a fight if everybody is made to order to lay down for you.
yeah,
Plus,
yeah,
he's
agreed.
already shown some psychological instability with his, his thing about, oh, my family don't like my girlfriend
Yeah,
and all of
I
that
was
stuff. It's
just
like,
about
what
to
the
touch on that.
dude? It's like
Is
you
he
are
serious?
not a fighter. You're not a fighter. Okay?
Yeah,
You're a person out here that's trying to milk opportunity, but you play boxing and you get knocked the TF out. Okay?
yeah,
You go in there with a different mindset outside of trying to take care of business, and it's going to be all downhill for you. And you haven't even faced tough opposition yet.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah,
There's this, but you want us, you want people to pay you as if you're accomplished, dude. You're a hype job, and you're gonna be as soon as you get in there with a guy that fight back, just like that Japanese guy fought back. They're
yeah,
gonna strip your underwear off of you, and you're gonna be standing in that ring buck naked, and
yeah.
everybody is gonna
Hmm.
laugh because you will have given them the real show.
Real
That's
show.
fucking ace, that is,
I
Stormy.
mean, this guy has been begging, whining, and crying to fight Lomachenko for 2 or 3 years, and then he
Yeah,
gets the
yeah,
chance, and then all of a sudden it's about the money. I mean, the past two fights he's been doing what Stormy was just talking about, whining about, oh, my girlfriend or my wife, and my family doesn't like my wife, and it's been hard. It's been so hard. Hard. Are you serious? If I were to come out and say what's going on in my life, or you guys were to come out and say what was going on
yeah,
in his
exactly,
life, and that
Tyrone.
would have happened to him, he would have killed himself inside that ring. I mean,
Listen,
That's
just
man, let
true.
me tell you
what a
something.
pimp.
I can take you back to something. Let's go back to 1991 when Riddick
Yeah,
Bowe challenged Evander Holyfield for the heavyweight championship, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
yeah,
Riddick Bowe had been a sparring partner for Evander on his way up, on Bowe's way up as a professional. So
that's right.
Evander, they brought him into several camps for Evander, to work with a big, young, strong heavyweight. And Bo wasn't even on the radar as a contender yet. He was pretty much a prospect, right? But as Bo began to get very good, um, Bo's people pulled him back from taking on, Holyfield or whatever, because in sparring, because they wanted to work on the things that, because once he became a contender, they could see him getting a title shot.
Yeah.
So as he became more polished, they didn't want him in there with Evander anymore, for Evander to really be able to gauge how good he was really becoming. So when he got in there and he contested for Holyfield's title,
Yeah.
Bo was very highly ranked. I forget which organization had him up at the top, but at the time he went in, they offered him, I think Bo got somewhere between 7 to 8 million or whatever to fight Holyfield.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
being a silver medalist from the Olympics, a high prospect and top contender, undefeated, having defeated a couple of veterans that had names, Bo was in a position to make a nice amount of money fighting Holyfield. But upon defeating Holyfield, he was able to make a lion's share in his first title defense against, I think it was Jesse Ferguson. I think he fought in his first title defense, or Michael Dokes. It was one or the other.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Something's telling me
he,
don't.
he made like double figures in that. Plus
Yeah.
had an HBO contract deal, right? So it's like off of
Exactly,
defeating
Stormy.
Evander, he got put in a great place. You understand? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's like he was good financially right away, but he had to face Evander first. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Evander was like a heavyweight that people didn't really respect, because they were like, he didn't beat Tyson for the title, but Tyson
Yeah,
was
yeah.
locked up.
I remember all
So
this, Stormy.
so
Yeah, yeah.
so as that played out, Holyfield got more respect in his defeat of losing to Bo than he got in respect for defeating George Foreman. And the
Yeah,
reason
yeah.
being because Foreman, people considered Foreman was a little bit older, right? So it's
That's right,
like,
yeah.
he beat an old guy. But when he lost to Bo, who was the younger guy, bigger, stronger, and everything else, and the guy that was the young upstart coming on, but Holyfield showed tremendous heart in the fight, in the defeat against Bo. So people,
Yeah.
that's where his respect came from. And then that's when people start calling him a real warrior. Even though he has shown warrior tendencies totally at cruiserweight and in some heavyweight bouts prior, like the Dokes fight that Holyfield had with Dokes. So it's like what happened is the men's reputation came from the fight taking place.
Facts.
Once the fight takes place, that tells the public who you are and why they should come and pay a ticket to watch you in the future.
Yeah,
So if
exactly,
Tiafimo is
Stormy.
running around here crying about his girlfriend,
Thanks, man.
crying about an opponent being too tall, crying about a purse, dude, maybe he needs to be in the crying game and out the boxing game.
Yeah. I tell you what, that is bang on. All right, Al, thanks for that, mate. Yeah, you bang on there, Stormy, because I remember all that, bro. I remember all of that. I remember the whole Tyson era coming up when he beat.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I remember all of that, what you've just said, because that's when I was banging my prime watching boxing. Like you say, because he fought the champion, he set the stall out straight away because he defeated him. So then you
Yeah.
then you can name your price, can't you? Like you're saying, if Teofimo Lopez fights Lomachenko and beats him, then he can set his fucking stall out and he can ask for what he wants. Then he'll get sponsorship, sport networks, and the rest all comes with it. But like you say, they're asking for stuff before they've even achieved anything, really,
Yeah.
which is
And
BS.
and mind you, we're not even asking for them to pour their guts out. We're not.
Yeah,
We're just
yeah,
asking for them to fight quality opposition. Because I'll tell you something, when you face
yeah,
quality opposition, what happens naturally is your metal gets tested. It just
Fact.
happens. You can't
Fact.
test your metal going up against people that are not a challenge for you. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
It's like a grown man going on the playground playing basketball against a bunch of 12 and 13-year-olds. Huh? He's
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
physically stronger than them and everything. He can push them out of the way. He might not even be as skilled as that they're going to be, but his just physical prowess and everything, he can dictate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you trying to be in a position where you're always dictating favorably? There's no development in that, nothing whatsoever. And because the guy has shown such weak character, it's going to be easier for him to be exploited. All it's going to take is one of these guys who are going to look at him as an opportunity. And when they say, hey, we want you to fight Tio in a couple of weeks on ESPN or whatever, and the guy takes the fight and knocks him out because he realizes this is his chance at stardom or whatever. Listen, it ain't
Yeah.
no fun when the rabbit got the gun, as they say, right? There you
Yeah.
go.
This is what we were speaking about the other night, Stormy, on my live stream. Same thing, what you've just said then. Same thing. You're turning down fights and that you're going to get exposed. People are going to turn their backs on you.
But it's
Like, like Tyrone
it's
said
happening
before.
so much in the entire sport.
Yeah. Like Tyrone said before. The guy's been chasing Lomachenko for years, calling him this, calling him that. Same with Devin Haney. He's always making comments about Devin Haney and his lips and stuff like that, saying, do you know what I mean? And then when the fight's presented to him, this is what I was trying to say to Mike the other night. I was trying to say, listen, we can't have a go at Lomachenko because at the end of the day, Lomachenko wrapped his side of the deal up last week. He signed his papers and it was all done. And Mike was like, well, I don't know. I don't know if Mike genuinely didn't know, but as far as I was aware, still, I mean, I could be wrong, but as far as I was aware, bro, what I read was that Lomachenko signed, sealed, and delivered his part of the contract during midweek last week, and then next thing you know,
And I'll tell you
Tiafimos,
something, Laws, you can look at it like this.
yeah,
You could look at it like this going forward, Laws and Tyrone. From now on, when you have an accomplished fighter like a Lomachenko, right? And his
yeah,
accomplishment primarily came in his amateur career, we know that. But as a pro, he's been extremely steady as well.
yeah,
Even though he's starting to show signs of age and everything like that,
Yeah.
someone still is going to have to defeat him in the ring.
fact,
Orlando Salido was able to do it because Orlando Salido had two things going for him in that manner. One, it was the style that he brought to the ring, and he was a rugged guy in that style. He was the ultimate fighter of the so-called what Triple G and his Abel Sanchez used to call the Mexican style. That
yeah,
is the style that is formidable against Pro-Am. Okay,
Mhm.
Pro-Am is what Lomachenko is. He's a Pro-Am fighter. He was an amateur for a long time, who's now in
yeah,
the pros, but the style,
So
because it's contingent upon athleticism, speed, and his footwork. So the Mexican style cuts that down. It cuts it off.
yeah,
It puts pressure, and there are not a lot of guys who can do it efficiently and effectively over a 12-round fight unless you have a more accomplished Mexican style fighter or that aggressive style fighter. Now, with all these young prospects, and a lot of them are prospects,
yeah,
they're out there. So you no longer in this era can give these young men credit for anything until they fight somebody. Now, they can have talent that looks like it's going to the moon. Tank Davis, Devin Haney, guys like that, Shakur Stevenson, Ryan Garcia. Yeah, their talent looks like, hey, we've seen this before, right?
yeah,
But I'm not saying anything until they in there with somebody who can hit their asses back.
Facts.
That's when you're gonna find out what they have. So I don't care how many left hooks he's landed on his last 7 opponents and knocked them all to kingdom come. I want to see
Yeah.
him when he gets a left hook on his chin and he gets knocked to kingdom come. What does he
Yeah.
have to offer? No
Yeah,
more
man.
than just handing these guys any type of glory or anything, especially coming off of this hiatus in boxing, where
Yeah.
boxing was, on the shelf for a while. It's now time to piss or get off the pot, bro. And I ain't
Yeah.
giving Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, none of those guys. I'm giving them no credit until they get in there with guys who can fight back. And what that means is they got to fight each other.
Yeah.
Not stop looking for uh, talent that's not quite up to their par as to get in as an opponent. Like that guy that
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson fought couple months ago when he came back or whatever.
Oh God.
That guy really shouldn't have been in the ring with him.
Yeah.
But again, let's see
Yeah,
Shakur get in there. Get your butt in there with Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Huh? Get in there with him.
Yeah.
Let's see what
Yeah.
y'all can
Great
do.
fighter. Yeah.
Gary need an opponent. You need an opponent. Get in there and face each other. You're 10 years younger than the man, so you should
Yeah.
have something on
Hey,
your side.
Stormy, just
But we're
quickly
not
because
going to
I
give
keep
you
taking
anything.
over. Let you talk, Tyron. What do you ever think of Shakuri Stevens and that Josh Warrington? Because the reason why I'm asking you that is because I'm mixed up over that. I mean, I've seen a bit. I will admit to you, I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 at the max Shakuri Stevenson fights, but I've seen a lot more Josh Warrington fights, and I quite like Josh Warrington. I think I know he's not a big banger in that, but the boy's got heart and he's got balls.
He's rough. He's rough.
Yeah, he's rough.
And
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell
rough.
you
That's a
something.
great name.
Rough.
Yeah.
When a guy is rough and rugged and he can take it,
Yeah.
he can always be in a fight. He could
Yeah.
always be in there. You understand? To the end. Because he
Yeah.
could take it. Now we know that Shakur is very talented, but can he
Yeah.
take it? You
Mhm.
understand?
Facts.
It's a little bit different when you listen. I grew up in a certain neighborhood here in Chicago, right? Now,
Yeah.
I'm by no means trying to claim being the toughest guy from my neighborhood. There were a lot of dudes that was tough. A lot of guys ain't here no more for trying to be tough. You understand?
Yeah.
But one thing I
Yeah.
was kind of smart. Okay, I was kind of smart. Okay, and I learned how to keep myself out of trouble, get away from when stuff was getting hot. And later on, they'd be, hey, where was you at, man? I had to do something. My dad had me doing something or whatever. And the other guys
Yeah.
went to jail or went to the hospital or went to the morgue. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, again, even though I saw what went on, I didn't have to do what they did. Okay. But I learned witnessing
Yeah.
through other people's experiences. I had my own experiences, but I was able to put that together to have the life that I'm having now. You understand? So
Mhm.
Shakur, he's had it great one way, but someday he's gonna have to get in there with somebody who can test him, who can bring out other qualities, and that's when you're going to be able to write the book on him. It's an incomplete documentary right now. You cannot give him anything. And a fighter like Warrington, we know what he could bring. Now we need to see him in against someone that he can utilize what he brings with, because again, he's not going to win a lot of fights with skill, precision, and all of that kind of thing. He's going to win guts and glory. And let's just remember, those type of fighters are what really drive the sport, huh?
Yeah.
And once you have that's what makes it. And that's why you can't be handing. I didn't want Shakur Stevenson to have the title that he has right now. I felt this too soon for him.
Yeah, that
I
was
felt
kind
he needed 5. I felt like he needed about 5 or 6 more fights of different types of opponents before he got the title. The title is always going to be there because the title passes hands from people who don't really invest in how to be a champion. It's like you can get a title, but the important thing is how to retain a title. And if you haven't learned how to fight, if you haven't learned how to fight, you can't retain a title. Anybody can win a title. You can go out there and close your eyes and get lucky, hit a guy on the chin and knock him clean out. And then in your first title defense, that same thing can happen to you. You understand? So you have to learn how to retain a title. So Shakur got a title now, but I wanted him to have a few more fights so he could bring some other things out of himself, so he can be confident to go out there and have title defenses. Larry Holmes had 20. Larry Holmes had 20 before he lost to Michael Spinks the first time.
Fucking awesome.
20
awesome.
title defenses in the heavyweight division. That's kind of hard to do, bro.
That's unheard of, Stormy. That's unheard of, isn't it, bro? 20 title defenses in the biggest banging division as well. And at the time, that's when fighters were fighters as well.
But see, and people, now let's flip it on the other end to make it more how important it is. Larry Holmes had the title for 20 defenses. Joe Louis held the title for 12 years. And Vladimir Klitschko held the title for 10 years. But how many times was Vladimir Klitschko knocked out in his career?
True. Yeah.
You see? Now you so now you could talk about the 10 years of reigning, but you've already, even before you had the title, you was knocked out by a lesser opponent too. So what that means is maybe having the title, you defending in your own backyard all the time against hand-picked opponents and against guys that you were more talented than. And then you put in time in between a title defense. Maybe you don't even fight for a year or a year and a half. You understand? So you stretching your time out. Yeah, you can be champ for a long time like that, especially if you're a guy who holds a title on foreign soil. So that can work easily for you. But when you do it like Larry Holmes did it, it's something totally different. You see? This is how you when you start pulling the meat off the bone, you can see the quality of it, right? That's how it is. Don't just hand it to people.
And that's the thing as well, Stormy. Klitschko never came out of fucking Germany, did he, bro?
No.
Very, very rarely.
Yeah.
You know.
Fighting all those guys in his hometown and everything, and everybody knows the doping and everything that's over there where he was, and how guys look at it like this. When Klitschko fought guys in the US, there were good fights he had, and he got knocked out, right? But when he fought and defended his title over there, when he fought and defended his title over there, tell me this: why were guys always busted up and cut up so badly? He wasn't busting people up and cutting them up when he was fighting in the US.
That's true. That's true. That's very true.
Cheating, bro. Cheating.
Yeah. Well, do you know what, Stormy? The Germany, right, for many years, I've heard a lot of British fans. I mean, don't get me wrong, now we're the same over here. I mean, God, if you don't knock someone out over here now, you're getting robbed. And it's as plain as, especially if it's got to do with that snake Eddie Hearn. Definite. But the UK now is the new Germany or the new Russia. But I can remember for years, and years, many boxing commentators over here saying, if you go to Germany, if you don't knock them out, you ain't winning. Simple as that. And I mean, I know the same is here now. The UK's the same. If you don't win over here, you're getting robbed. But just piggybacking back off what you just said about. No, go on, my bad. Go on, Stormy.
No, I was just gonna say, but you know what'll wrap all of that up, Laws? If you can fight, bro? It don't matter where you fighting. If you can fight, it don't matter where you fight. Seriously. No.
Seriously. That's true. If you can champion will fight anywhere.
Meaning that you have your right and your left as your own judges, right?
Yeah.
You go in there and you take care of business like you're supposed to. It don't matter what soil you're on. It doesn't,
Thanks.
because
Thanks.
you're capable. But that's
Yeah.
why when you talk about what I was just saying a moment ago, let these guys learn how to fight, hone their craft, get in there against people who are gonna challenge you and test your mettle and everything. Because when you pass those tests, you shouldn't have to worry about what's gonna happen on foreign soil. Look at Roy
Yeah.
Jones Jr. Roy
Yeah.
did not want to go overseas and face Darius Michaelcheski, but you're called the fighter of the decade, okay? But you don't want to go over there and fight them people over there because you feel like, oh, they may cheat you, like they cheated you in the Olympics. Well, if you didn't learn anything in the Olympics, you were supposed to learn that your fist should be your judge and your juror. And if somebody
True.
is calling you the fighter of the decade, it should be no place on this earth that you don't want to go and fight. Because if you can kick ass at home, you should be able to kick ass over in his home too. Okay?
Yeah. The
You
thing,
got to
thing
be
is,
on. You never heard
thing is,
Muhammad
though,
Ali crying about fighting in Germany or somewhere else. He fought Carl Mildenberger and all them guys. He went over there and fought wherever he had to fight.
yeah, he did. That's right. Yeah, he did. You see, Stormy, I'm going to go for a cigarette quick. But just before I get off, I'm not going. I'll be back and I'm just going for a quick ciggy. But that's why. That's the reason why I I give Errol Spence Jr. so much credit. It's not the fact that me and Tyrone were talking about it before you come on. It's not the fact that he came over here. He didn't come over here and go to London and fight. Because I've seen fighters do it where like US fighters or any fighter from a different country, they've came over to the capital and fought the champion in the capital. But that's not his own backyard. Errol Spence didn't. He did it one better. He came over to the UK, so he beat the guy in his own country. But he actually went to the guy's home city, his home football ground, his beloved football ground, and and beat him. That is a fucking it. At 30 odd thousand, I mean, I don't know how many were there, but I know Bramall Lane, Sheffield United's ground, where he beat him, it holds about 35, 36,000 fans. But to go there and actually beat, he might as well have knocked on his actual door of his house and beat him in his front garden or his back garden. That is something special to do because when you go to the capital, you've got a mixture of fans from all over the country. But when you go to the guy's actual hometown, all of them fans are his
That's
own
why you
fans.
give.
See what I mean,
That's
Stormy?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's why you give a guy like Terrence Bud Crawford more
Yeah,
credit.
he
He
did
went
the
over there
same.
and fought
Yeah,
that Ricky
yeah,
Burns. Yep, he went over there and fought
he
Ricky
did. That's
Burns,
right.
right?
Yeah, in Hampden
Went
Park.
over
Yeah,
there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what you have to
yeah,
do. And think about it like this. Everybody want to give Earl his credit for what you just said he did, right?
yeah,
And he deserves that because that's how you do it. But
yeah.
why are you taking away from Bud's accomplishments? Because it
True. I
wasn't
never
at the
thought
same
of it
weight.
like that,
It
Stormy.
wasn't
Actually,
because it wasn't at the same weight class. No, he's still the champion. He's still
yeah,
a champion for doing what he accomplished. Now it's time for him to face the best at the weight class he's at now. But you can't discredit and say he ain't nothing because he hasn't fought who you wanted him to fight yet. You
very true.
let them
Very,
fight.
very true. Oh,
I'm telling
Stormy,
you
you're
something. When
fucking
they
ace,
do
man.
fight, that when they do fight, that fight is going to be a great fight. But I don't
Yeah,
think it's going to happen.
I don't. I said to Tyrone, I
I
love
don't
them
think it's
both.
going
I
to
don't know who to call in that fight. I really don't.
And the
Come on, Tyrone, I'm
time,
going for a fight.
it's the time for the fight. I mean, Spence right now is what, 30, and Crawford turns 33, I think, at the end of this year. So they're running out of time to make
And
it
I'll
happen.
tell you something, Tyrone. I just did a video on them. Okay, just today, I dropped a video called the Fab Five and
Okay.
talked about the guys. And it's Crawford, Spence, Porter, Garcia, and Thurman. I was like, do you realize that Spence is the youngest of them, and the oldest is Crawford, but also Thurman is 32 as well. So it's like, and then Sean is like 31, and Danny Garcia is 31. So it's like those guys are right at the age right now. They should be fighting each other right now because they're each other's peers and they can gain the notoriety for their legacies by facing each other. And I've said this, if they all were to fight each other, nobody's coming out of that undefeated. No, nobody. Because each of them have something that another guy can capitalize on. And that's when you know it's competitive. And the worst thing in the world is none of them are trying to fight each other right now. Well, Earl is supposed to fight Danny Garcia. And I'm going to tell you something. That fight ain't going to be as easy for Earl as some people think it's going to be.
Mhm.
It's not. Because styles make fights. And the thing about Earl is Earl has a little bit of difficulty transitioning from offense to defense. When he's being aggressive, he's coming forward, that's great. But when you got a guy that's a sharp, well-timing counterpuncher, you got to be careful because he could take your head off with a counterpunch. And that's Danny Garcia. You saw what he did to Amir Khan. No, Earl is not Amir Khan. I'm not even trying to indicate that.
Mm-hmm.
Does is so you got to be careful and sharp for that. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. You just cut out for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good now.
Yeah. No, I was just saying you have to be careful. You have because a counterpuncher can be dangerous. Evander Holyfield was one of the best right-hand counterpunchers in the heavyweight division for his era that he fought at the heavyweights, and that's what made guys keep their hands at home because if you let your right hand go, he'll let his go, and he wasn't afraid of contact. So it's like he was waiting on you to throw something so he could throw his counter. You understand? That's what Danny does. Danny was waiting all night long to counter Sean Porter, and the fight was ugly because of the way Sean fought it. But he hit Sean with some solid shots, which is why Sean wouldn't just totally open up because of the timing. He get your timing down, he could hurt you. You see, and that's the kind of fight. But this is the kind of fight an opponent that Earl needs. He needs that type of opponent. You know, just like Bud needs the type of opponent that Porter would be for him. They need to fight that type of fight. And the winners of those fights should fight each other too. The losers of those fights should fight the losers of the other fight. It's like these guys need to get in there, bro. They need to do what they need to do. That's when boxing has its best to offer. We talked about Riddick Bowe earlier. After he defeated Evander Holyfield, he had a signed agreement to face Lennox Lewis and decided not to face Lennox Lewis, claiming that Lennox asked for too much money for their fight. But Lewis was the number one contender for the WBC belt. And since Bowe was the newly undisputed champ, instead of fighting Lewis in his first title defense, which was supposed to take place, he decided to throw the belt away. Dude, that ruined the heavyweight division for the next 10 years. You know why? Because even when Evander regained the title, then he lost the title to Mora. Then Mora lost to Foreman. Then Foreman lost to Foreman gave up one of the belts and then lost to who was that Foreman lost to? Tommy Morrison, I think. It's like
he lost to and who's the dude?
Shannon Briggs.
Shannon Briggs.
Yeah. And see all that, and that came from Bowe throwing the damn belt away because the belts got broken up again.
Yeah.
Evander was the type of fighter. If he had beat Bo, he would have fought Lennox Lewis because Evander believed he had the integrity to hold on to all the titles. Win, lose, or draw, he gonna face the guy. You see, and that's the kind of man he was. But Bo, if he and Lewis fought early in the '90s when they were supposed to, whoever won that fight was probably going to be the heavyweight champion of the rest of the decade because those are the two best young guys, and they were the two heavyweights that bookend the decade. Bo started out, Lennox cleaned it up, and they still never fought each other. It's freaking ridiculous. And so, do you want this decade to end with Bud and Earl and all of those guys not facing each other? What a travesty that would be.
Yeah, we've got to get. I think priority is Errol and Crawford. I think that's got to be number one. These guys gotta. They've got to make that fight and just put the debate to rest. But I don't think.
And you know what? And I'll say this: Porter deserves a rematch with Spence. That fight was razor close, bro. And the knockdown, I feel, made the difference because had the knockdown not taken place, those judges would have been forced to give Porter more credit because people thought that Earl was going to wash him. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this: the little bit of movement that he gave Earl, lateral movement in and outside the side, it gave Spence some problems. So if a fighter is out there watching, observing, learning what he's looking at and everything, dude, nobody is undefeatable. Nobody. Even the best you thought they would never lose. One day they go up the stairs, the champ or the best in the world, and when that match is over, they come out the ring having been bested. Who would have thought Glencoff Johnson would have knocked Roy Jones out after Roy was coming back from the Tarver fight? Glencoff Johnson knocked Roy colder than Tarver did.
Yeah.
People thought Roy was dead. Huh? They thought he was dead. He got up from the Carver knockdown and he just fell into the ropes. They stopped the fight. But when Glencoff hit him, he laid there on the floor like he was in a coma.
Yeah, big right hand over the top.
Yeah.
Man.
And I don't say that to make fun of Roy. I say that because people just thought Roy was going to be a guy that, it's like he'll lose like after he get real old or something. No, it didn't take that long. It just took somebody to connect. Remember, Shane Mosley looked really good too till Vernon Forrest came along, right? I can still hear people. Yeah, I can still hear people oohing and ahhing when he hit Shane with that combination and an uppercut and put Shane on the floor. People was like, "Oh no!" It was like Shane was on the floor, like he had put so many other guys on the floor. Like I said, you stay in there long enough and you fight quality opposition, you could be on the end of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what makes the sport great. When you having quality fights, dude, and the cream will always rise to the top. I tell you, it'll always be somebody who you never thought. Leonard danced circles around Hagler. Hagler fought a war with Hearns, and Duran boxed the shit out of Hagler for 13 rounds. It took the last 2 rounds of that fight for Hagler to really come on strong to keep his title from Duran. And who would have thought Duran, a lightweight, would come up the middleweight and fight Hagler like that? You know what I'm saying? It's like you just don't know until these guys get in the ring with each other. Tommy Hearns knocked Duran out in 2 rounds. Yep. Damn near killed him. Duran, when he got off the canvas, he looked at his cornerman and said, "What happened?" He didn't know what the hell happened. He got hit with that right hand, flush on the chin. and he fought a nip and tuck war with Leonard the first fight, forced Leonard into a fight. That's the fight that made Leonard realize I ain't the toughest dude in the world, so I better use my boxing skills. If Leonard never lost to Duran, he wouldn't have beat Tommy Hearns in that first fight that they had, because Leonard was kind of like a carefree guy and would go in there and throw caution into the wind. But the Duran fight made him retain some sensibility about what he was doing in there, and to go in there and go about his work in a more calculating manner. You know, not just go in there thinking I'm gonna go through this guy.
Mm-hmm.
See, at the end of the day, these welterweights we got right now, one of them is smarter than everybody. But in order for us to find that out, they all have to fight each other. The one thing Shawn Porter has got going for him is he's got the best resume as far as having fought the more quality opposition at that weight. That's what that video that I made is about today. That video I made today, rather, it's about the Fab Five. Why don't, fighting each other? And I made a mistake when I was doing the video, and I said that Porter had defeated.
I've not seen that, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
I made a mistake during the video as I was making it, saying that Porter had defeated Thurman. I was actually trying to say that Porter had fought Thurman and Garcia, and that raises his stock a little bit, because he's fought 2 out of the Fab Five. So it's like he's one of the Fab Five. So all he has to do is fight the other 2 guys, meaning Crawford and who was the other one that he didn't fight? Well, he fought Spence. So he fought 3 of them.
Yeah, he fought
Pacquiao.
Crawford is the only one he didn't fight. So even if he doesn't have another fight in his career, he fought Spence, he fought Garcia, and he fought Thurman. Nobody else in the division can say they've done that, and that's pretty good.
Shawn Porter's got one of the best resumes in boxing at this moment in time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's why you can't. That's why I said he deserves a rematch against Spence, because what if the knockdown didn't happen? And it didn't. It wasn't like he put him on his ass. His glove touched the floor, just like when Floyd touched the floor against Zab Judah. Same shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he went on his back. You know what I mean? He didn't even hit the canvas. That was a hell of a shot, and Shawn took it. And if that be the difference in that fight, they deserve a rematch. If that be the difference in the fight, that knockdown. Because, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, you're right there, Stummy. I agree. I've heard loads of people say, oh, Furman schooled him and all that. Not Furman, Spence schooled him and all that. I was like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
And Laws, while you was taking your smoke, I said to Tyrone, I said, in that fight, Porter he showed that a little bit of lateral movement left and right gave Earl some trouble.
Yeah, of course he did, bro. Yeah, he did. That's right. Because he's got the most unpredictable, awkward style, hasn't he?
That football bullshit.
Yeah, but it's effective though, Tyrone.
It is.
It's effective. I think it was a lot closer when he fought Keith Thurman. Don't get me wrong. The thing with Shawn Porter, what I've always found with him, is when he lunges in, he gets clocked coming in. If he could somehow, I don't know, dip or move his head a little bit as he come in, he wouldn't get as clocked as much. And I mean, I know all judges are different. Some score off aggression, some score off punches landed and stuff like that. But I think that's probably why he did lose the Furman fight, because he got clipped a lot when he was coming in. Keith Thurman sort of just like sat there waiting for him. When he came in, he clipped him on the way in. And I've seen him get clipped quite a lot in that fight. But yeah, I don't love him, but I mean I like Shawn Porter. I think he's a great fighter, man. And like you say, Stormy, if it wasn't for that knockdown, who knows how that fight would have been scored.
Sean Porter would have benefited a great deal had he learned the peekaboo defense that Customato taught Mike Tyson,
Yeah,
because he's a guy of a certain type of stature, and he would be able to benefit off of when guys punch at him, uh, to be able to do something off of the punches that are coming at you. You know, you're gonna work your way in behind a jab, but as soon as a guy lets his hands go, there's a certain counters for whatever he's throwing at you. And that's where he would have really benefited from the peekaboo defense. And
yeah,
there's another thing about, like, when he gets in close to a guy, you stay there and get your work going. You get your work going until they either break you or separate, the refs separate you guys, and then you reset and you begin it again. But
yeah,
you have to say this about Sean. He is one of the most conditioned fighters in the sport today, too, because when he goes in there, he seems to be
yeah,
able to bring it for all 12 rounds.
yeah,
And that's pretty admirable,
yeah.
you know, in a
Agreed.
era where guys either give it all within the first six or tap out by 8 or 9, you know, and it's like, you know, Bashan is a guy who could go bell to bell.
Yeah,
So his conditioning is off the charts.
yeah. Agreed. He's in tip top condition all year round. Never see Sean Porter with a belly hanging over or anything like that. Sean Porter would easily be a 15-round fighter. Easy in my eyes. He'd do 15 rounds, no problem.
Hmm.
I think so anyway.
Yeah.
But Stormy, I
There's a
mean,
number of guys who, huh?
yeah, go on, Stormy. Go on, bro. There's a
No, I
number
was
of
just gonna
guys
say
that what?
there's a number of guys who can't go the distance, as far as if you're talking about a 15-round fight. There's a number of guys who couldn't make that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, back in the what was it? Back in the early 1900s, they didn't even have a round limit. I mean, I saw fights going to 45, 46. Just looking at BoxRec, it was whoever got knocked out.
Yeah.
facts.
Yep. Basically, till you can't go no more.
Imagine if Teofimo Lopez had to fight back then. What would he say? My carriage wasn't working on the way to the fight, and the wagon wasn't right, and I just had such a hard time. And
God damn. You see,
No,
this is
Tiafimo would be saying, where do I mop up the ring when these guys are finished? You know, because he wouldn't be in the fight game himself. He'd be a janitor.
Jim Janitor. You see, Stormy, this is what I was trying to explain to Mike the other day. I was trying to say, well, it might have been off. I was trying to say on my live stream, it was before you come on, Stormy. I was trying to say that the boxing media or the boxing fans, maybe not so much the media, but the boxing fans, if you turn a fight down or you don't back up what you're saying you're gonna do, then you get tarred with a brush very easily. And once you've been tarred with that brush, it's very hard to lose it. I think so. I mean, the amount of people just over this week whose channels I've been in, or even if I've not been in the chat, I've just watched, have said, "Oh, he's ducking," or things like that. And once you get tarred with being a ducker, it seems to stay with you for a while. So that's what I was trying to say to Mike the other day. If he doesn't fight Lomachenko, people aren't going to forgive him for that because, like Tyrone was saying earlier, he's been talking shit about Lomachenko for years, and then now that the opportunity was given to him, all of a sudden it looks like now he's not doesn't want to fight him, and he's using the money as an excuse. But to some people, that's going to be seen as a duck. Well, to me, it is because, like, I agree with what you were saying earlier, Stormy. I think he should fight him, and once he's beat him, because he's got no one really credible on his name to name a silly price. So fight the boy, beat him if you do beat him, and then once you've beat him, then you can name your own price, then, can't you?
Well, see, let's not confuse what we call this stuff in this game too. It's not it's not ducking. It's clout chasing. Because he did all of that damn talking and everything like he really wanted some smoke, right?
Yeah.
And now that they made him an offer and everything, oh, it's too much money. Dude, you've been talking for the past couple of years. Where else would you make 1.2 or 1.5 million? Nowhere. Get your ass in the ring.
Facts.
Seriously.
Facts, bro.
I mean, it's really cut and dry with us, like, and I said this before. I mean, get your money, as a business, go out and get, the money you want to get. That's fine. That's up to you. But don't come back and tell us that we have to support you and keep buying for your tickets because you don't want to give us the fights we want. You can't have it both ways. If you want to go out and, scramble over 100,000 or 200,000 or whatever you're looking for in the contract at the cost of not giving your fans who support you the fight, then that's your business. You're not going to come back and ask us to support you. We won't support you.
Exactly, Tyrone.
We'll just leave. Go chase money, but we're not going to be there with you.
Yeah, it's like Dillian White, right? Getting the WBC to mandate that somebody fights him and this and that. But when is Dillian White going to fight somebody? Seriously, what fighter in the top 10 has Dillian White beat? I'll wait.
Because Parker, that was it in my
WBC.
Just Parker.
Well, I don't consider Parker a top fighter though. Parker is another one of those opportunists.
Top 10, wasn't he?
Yeah, I understand that. But did he fight like a top 10 fighter? Fuck no.
No, until the last 30 seconds, it was like I could really do this.
Yeah. See, I don't like fighters like that.
Yeah.
I don't like fighters like that. And don't forget, he could have fought Deontay Wilder instead of Anthony Joshua, and he elected to fight Joshua not because he could make more money, because there was a less chance of him possibly getting knocked the hell out. Because of Wilder was knocking everybody out. I mean, you go out there, you beat Wilder, that raises your stock.
Of course it does.
These guys don't have no clue of how to do it, man. They're doing it the coward's way, and then they get mad when you don't treat them like men. Because they don't act like men. They act like females. These guys. They do. Women tendencies, bro. Out there acting like, oh, I'm a diva, and they don't pay me enough for that or whatever. Whatever happened to I'll lick any son of a bitch in the house? I'm the baddest man on the planet. Whatever happened to that kind of talk? Lennox used to get up there and say, no man test, huh? And then he was knocking people upside their head.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
These guys out there today, man, they're females, bro.
He criticized Luis Ortiz, saying he was a fossil. I remember seeing the interview on IFL TV where he was laying in his bed and he was doing like a live Instagram video or something, and then it went on IFL TV, and I can remember him saying, why would I want to fight him? He's a fossil. He's a caveman. He's a dinosaur. He's the oldest man in boxing. He's 40-odd years old and all this. And then, obviously, he never fought Dominic Breazeale. And then, a year down the line, he's fighting a 41-year-old shot to foot Povetkin. What's that all about?
I mean, look at that fight in December, right? When I was really pushing, I thought Hunter was going to wipe Povetkin.
Yeah.
And he should have. If he had come in, he would have destroyed this dude. But he came.
He blew that. He blew that knockout.
And you saw it. You saw it at the end of the fight. I mean, you would have, if you were just to look at Hunter's face at the end of the fight, you would have thought he lost it. He lost the fight because when he lost that fight, everything dominoed. Nobody wanted to fight him after that. He didn't get anything else, and they released him.
Yeah, good point, Tyrone.
They just released him. It was like he lost, even though he basically won that fight, even though it was a draw. He got old man or whatever. He blew that chance. If he had won that, he would have forced a fight. But he gave them a reason not to fight him. They said, well, it was a draw, and Povetkin is a bigger star than you, and we're just going to give it to Povetkin. So
exactly,
Povetkin gets the fight. Hughie Fury will not fight anybody of note.
Do you know what, Tyrone? Looking back at that now, bro, it was like as if it was encrypted, if it was already set up.
It was already set up, yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
I could not believe he blew that. I mean, he had him out. I counted about 5 or 6 times, and Povetkin does this wobble. It's really unique the way he goes. I mean, you see him when he gets hurt. He starts putting his hand.
It's like a guy. It's like a guy walking on his heels.
Yeah. Every time he gets hurt, I swear to God, he puts his hand right, almost as if he's wiping his eyes. If you've seen that,
right?
I know what you're saying.
He goes like that, and then shakes his head.
His feet roll over to the side too. Yeah. His feet roll over to the side. It's funny. It's a funny thing. It's hard to describe it, but when you see it, it's hilarious. I know what you're talking about.
He said
he did it against Klitschko too. When Klitschko knocked him out, Povetkin, his feet did the same thing. He did that little kind of stumble over thing where he was on the side of his heels or something. I was cracking up.
When Joshua hit him with the right hand, he did the same thing.
Thing is, though, if you actually watch that fight, Povetkin after that fight, even his face was amazed that he couldn't believe that he got a draw.
Oh, he was like so respectful after that fight. You have Hunter over there. You have Hunter over there. He said, "Damn." He was like, shit." He couldn't say anything good about that fight because he knew he blew that opportunity. But Povetkin was like, you're such a great fighter. You're such a great fighter. It was such a good fight, but he never talked about running it back. I tried.
Do you know what that remind me of? You remember that fight that the Nigerian Nightmare had with Klitschko when he knocked Klitschko down all those times and Klitschko still got the victory?
Yeah. Could you believe that?
There was no way Klitschko won that fight, man. But this dude got put down on the canvas like 1,000 times, and they still gave him the decision. I was like, yo, man.
Do you know what, though? One fight I want to see Dillian White versus Michael Hunter. Because I think Michael Hunter will pace Dillian White.
Never going to happen because it's too much of a risk.
Dillian, exactly. Dillian, they going to take that fight.
I did that video.
Nobody's going to fight a guy like Michael Hunter. That's why I feel so bad for him. And he messed it up himself. He knew nobody wants to fight him. He knew he had to win that fight no matter what. No matter what. And he came out that bit out of shape or whatever. And then he got old, man. He got a draw. And it just was like, damn.
He got released because he was a threat to Dillian White.
No, to everybody on that
Anthony
roster.
Joshua.
Nobody was going to fight him. Who on that roster was going to fight him? Usyk is not going to fight him again.
Exactly. That's why I did that video, Tyrone.
Is not going to fight him because he saw what he did to Martin Bakole and Kuzman, and now those two are fighting. He beat Kuzman and Bakole. He knocked out. He dropped both of them. He knocked out one, and he put the other guy on there on his ass. Hunter gets released, and those two fight in 2 weeks from now together.
Exactly. See what I mean, Tyrone? How it's scripted, bro.
It's not fair.
You can almost read it like a nursery rhyme, can't you?
In boxing today, you can never work too hard. If you get too good, if you work too hard, it goes against you.
Yeah.
You can't.
You're right, bro.
Seriously, you can't work too hard. If you get too good,
you're right.
Yeah.
You're too good for your own good. It goes against your benefit.
If you got skills, don't nobody want to fight you. If
Nobody
you
Yeah.
tough, nobody want to fight
will
you.
fight you.
Yeah.
If you got a great chin and resiliency, nobody wants to fight you. So it's like you ain't got no fucking chance, bro. Unless you a
Yeah.
dude that just go in there and drops decisions all the time, like Joseph Parker,
hmm
you'll get a fucking fight.
I mean, that
Yeah.
guy,
You
he gets
see?
in there and he's just like, and I like taking from what you said, a guy who just is fine with taking part. He's just okay with being there
Hmm.
and oh hi, how are you? You know those have you ever been to conferences and meetings and stuff? And you'll have, different companies or speakers, and the speaker will come there and he'll be like, hello guys. I'm so glad to be here today with all of you.
You know what that's
Yeah.
like, Tyrone? When you're in school,
Yeah.
and the people who always fucking want to sit up front, right? Because
Mhm.
they think the teacher ain't gonna call on them when you're sitting right up in the front.
Yeah.
You know, they trying to use the old Jedi mind tricks and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, if I sit right up here in front of him, he ain't gonna call on me. If I sit in the back, you see my head down or something, he gonna call on me. So I'll sit at the front of the class.
Mhm.
You dumbass, I'm gonna call you with the first question. You know?
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on?
But that's what they do, man.
Seriously.
Yo, what's
You,
going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
How
Who
we doing?
is this Watcher?
Nah, I'm a new watcher. I'm a new viewer. I just joined
Oh,
the stream
okay.
now.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Yeah, not much, man. Just wanted to talk some boxing with you guys, man. See what was going on.
Yeah, cool. We were just talking about how Michael Hunter is just kind of blackballed about all of this because he's too good for his own. He's too good for his own good.
Yeah, do you know what? I really rate Michael Hunter. Man. I like him. Like he
Yeah,
seems
same.
like a really decent guy, a hungry guy, but
hmm
still humble. But you know what? The guy's got a lot of heart as well, man. Like he's got a lot of heart. I think he can go far, in the heavyweight division, but. People like Fury is going to be difficult because of the massive size difference, man. Do you know what I mean? So, but I do rate him.
He was released
yeah.
because literally nobody on that
I like
roster would
Michael
fight
Hunter.
him. White would not fight him. Huey Fury would not fight him. Herkovich wouldn't fight him. Usyk is not going to fight him again, and they just released him. That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, he even did an
Yeah, but I'm
interview,
sure he'll
Tyrone.
get a deal. I think he might even get a deal with Top Rank, unless
Yeah,
he's
that's what
already
I'm
signed
thinking.
with someone.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Laws?
I'm just saying, Michael Hunter actually did an interview after he got released because Mike sent me a link to his Twitter account where he just put because Sky announced that they'd released him,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently Michael Hunter didn't know anything about it, and on his Twitter account he just put question mark as if like,
Wow.
what's going on? And then a few days later, he was interviewed by I think it was Box Fan or something, some British channel, and he was like, "I didn't have a clue I'd even been released. I didn't know nothing about it." And he said the same thing what I said. He was released because he was seen as a threat. That's
Yeah.
why, like I said, why I always said, why is Dillian White fighting Povetkin? Why is he not fighting Michael Hunter? That's a fucking good fight, that's a good tear up. A very good tear up. But they let him go.
Yeah. Lawrence Williams puts up a good point. I didn't know
Yeah,
this.
salute Law, salute Derek Bailey.
He says they'll order Martin versus Hunter. What do you think about that fight?
I think Hunter will knock him out. It's a good
Yeah.
fight, but I think Hunter will knock him out.
Yeah, I think it's a
Charles
solid
Martin?
fight. Yeah, Prince Charles Martin.
I don't think it depends on how
Apparently, he
Martin
was
comes off of
nerfed.
this layoff. His fight over George Washington, Martin looked like something totally different than he had previously, and I marveled at his victory over Washington to the degree I was like, Why didn't he fight AJ like that? Because
Yeah.
if he had fought AJ like that, he would have knocked AJ out. So if Martin still has that fire burning in his belly coming out of this layoff, that's going to be a tough fight for Hunter, because he's
Yeah.
a physically bigger man.
Yeah.
He's not Povetkin. And Martin, regardless of what they say, is more durable. He can take more
Right, he can
than
take a lot.
Povetkin can. Povetkin
If
is
he
40 years old.
Yeah, if Hunter wants, if Martin wants to, sit down and actually fight, he'll fight. AJ, he just was paid to stay down. I don't think I don't think anybody was really surprised to see Martin whitewash Gerald like that. I think we were more surprised with what you said. Yeah, we didn't think we were that surprised to see Martin whitewash Gerald, because Gerald, can look at a ghost and he'll shit himself. But
Yeah.
I think we were surprised with what you said, Stormy, with what happened. See that fire in his belly, somebody who really wanted to get after it.
Thing
Yeah,
is, though,
he
how
realized
did he
it was
lose
like a
to
switch went off.
Kawanaki?
It was like a switch went off on the
Yeah.
guy, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna fight." And see, I'm gonna
That's
tell you
what
something.
impressed me. That's what
When you got a
surprised
big
me.
guy like that,
Mhm.
when you got a big guy like that has skills and ability, dude, you don't want to rile that up, because it's a tough battle then. See, you guys like that, you want to lure them to sleep, make them think, oh yeah, this is no threat or whatever, and next thing you know, you escape with a victory. But if you put a guy like that into a fight, dude, what if you get tired? And you still got this 6'5" dude, 245, 250-pound dude bearing down on your ass. That's a lot. And see, Hunter is not the biggest heavyweight in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So it's like, that's dangerous. Now, if you got a guy that you're fighting 6'4", one second. If you got a guy that's 6'4", like a White, who half steps and looks for the easy road and shit like that, that's a guy that Hunter can take advantage of.
Yeah.
Because he's prone to come out of shape. He's prone to look for help, outside help, whether it's cheating or whatever, and he's not totally committed, and he was waiting around for opportunity. You take that damn opportunity away from his ass by becoming his worst nightmare. Somebody that's bearing down, breathing down his neck. That's how you go after him.
Mm-hmm. Boxing fan, you were gonna add something?
No, that wasn't me. I think it was someone else. But you know what? I agree with what you said there, mate. I do think you're right, man. That fight is a great fight as well. I think Hunter can really take it to him. But I think someone else was gonna interject there. But yeah, I do agree with what you just said, man. You spoke some good points there. Spoke a lot of sense.
Yeah, Loss, you're gonna go say something?
Oh, can't remember now.
You said Hunter versus Martin. You're thinking Hunter might beat Martin?
I think, me personally, I understand where Stormy's coming from.
It's a solid fight. I'm not picking anybody yet. I didn't really break it down, but as far as the fight, I think it's solid. I think if Martin comes in there, like how he has been his past couple of fights. When I saw him fight Kawanaki,
that's what I mean. He disappointed me there. He started too late in that fight.
Yeah.
If he'd have jumped on Kawanaki the way he finished, he'd have won that fight.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, God, Gerald Washington, was it Gerald Washington knocked out Helenius? And
somehow.
Yeah, I don't know how. And Helenius absolutely destroyed Kawanaki, didn't he?
Yeah, we were. I remember that because I think I was on Stormy's show. Or no, me and Stormy were on a panel together, weren't we? I forgot which show it was, and we were just laughing. I said, "Ooh!" I think we were watching it live, and then you guys heard me. I said, "Ooh!" He said, "What?" And then you guys saw it. 5 seconds later, you're like, "Oh, he went down."
You know what though? I always remember Stormy saying, "Did anyone expect that?" And I was like, no, I didn't. I had Kawanaki wiping the floor with Alanius. I will admit that.
Well, that just goes to show, man. Remember, Kaunaki couldn't get out of a way of a punch. And in the
Yeah.
heavyweight division, you take too many of them, man. That's it for you.
True.
You know,
That's very true.
that dude, he didn't, in that fight, he was eating punches like they were potato chips with hot sauce on them or something. It was like he just was, you know, punch after punch after punch. And everybody
Yeah.
has a threshold where, you know, you take that last one, that's it. No more after that. Okay, you're full. And
Stormy,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. You think accumulation, you think fight after fight, that was just the breaking point, just that fight with all the fights and the sparring and everything, him fighting like that, it just added up
yeah,
to that.
and remember, I've said this on the air many times. When a guy's getting hit in a fight like that, he's getting hit in the gym like that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
He doesn't just wait till the lights are on and say, okay, tonight I'm gonna let the dude hit me. He's getting hit like that in sparring in the gym too. It's just that a coach can stop it, take somebody out the ring and put somebody else in and stuff like that. But I talk about it all the time. You know, why do you think these guys, it's like the quality of boxing that you see today is really poor.
Very.
You don't see a lot of technique. You don't see a lot of great footwork. You don't see a lot of great defense because guys are cutting the corners because the teaching isn't there. Okay? If you go to class every day and your teacher let you sit in the back and read comic books and don't make you study and don't make you get in on a lesson, then at the end of the semester somebody expect you to pass a test. Come on, you ain't gonna pass nothing but gas from farting in the classroom. That's it. Because you can't do anything. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's like if you've got good teaching, you can take care of yourself. How you go about winning is up to you after that. Because I can give you tools. I can show you how to use the tools. But when you go out there to work on a machine, it's your show.
Yeah. Inside the Ropes, are you a new channel, did you say?
No, I'm not on a new channel, man. I started quite a while ago, but do you know what? I made a few videos and then I kind of just lost interest in it. I just watch boxing now and get involved in a few discussions like this now and again. Though.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
All right.
What do you guys think about Fury Wilder? Do you
Wilder
think it
versus
happens
Fury
this year?
3?
Do you want to see it? Would you rather see something else? Yeah. What do you think? Would you rather see something else, or do you think it happens this year? Or?
Yeah, being biased, I want to see it again. Because I do feel like something was, well, we saw it. Something just wasn't right. That second fight. He has to win this fight, this third fight. Just to get things back on the right page. Yeah, I think it happens. I think it happens at the end of this year.
Yeah, I think it happens.
Yeah.
I definitely think it happens this year.
What do you think, Storm?
Well, I'm going on the more unpopular side of things now because you fooled me once, shame on you. You fooled me twice, shame on me. Okay? Now, this is what I started to surmise since I've been watching how things have gone since the rematch took place. I don't like the fact that Wilder hasn't come out and talked. I ain't talking about the controversial stuff. I'm not talking about that. But I don't like the fact that he's kind of gone into hiding and he's licking his wounds or whatever. You know, everybody loses in life, you know. But to come out, be a man, stand on your square and say, hey, I got my butt kicked that time. I'm coming back to get what's rightfully mine. I can respect that. But to stay off, quiet, not say anything, as if you retired and left the sport behind and everything, that I'm not a fan of, because I believe, and this is the little bit of kind of like a Teddy Atlas of approach to this, when you say about the character of a guy. When you suffered a setback, when you were on your pillar, right, on your top game, you could voice things to whoever would listen, and you want people to hear your voice. But then you kind of been knocked down a peg, and you don't talk no more. You gone. That I got a problem with that, because the guy who's even killed, you're the same way whether you win or lose. I can respect that. When Muhammad Ali lost to Joe Frazier the very first time, and they interviewed him after the fight, and they said to him, "Hey, bet you don't want to go through that no more, right, champ?" And he was like, "How wrong you are. Give me 6 months and I'll meet Joe Frazier in the ring again." You understand? It's like you want it back. And he may want it back in silence, but he needed to project something onto his supporters, and he hasn't done that. So my summarization is this. I think he loses the third fight. And this is after mulling over things. Not what happened with the controversial stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about on talent and what has transpired before. In the first fight, he put Fury down twice. But the second knockdown, it was what happened after Fury got up that made me come to this conclusion. Fury got up in that 12th round from the knockdown, where it should have been waved off. I still feel that. But he won the rest of the round. He had Wilder reeling at the end of the fight when the final bell rang. And that has to do something to Wilder a little bit psychologically, because most of the people that Wilder put down, they were done. This man got up and fought back, won the rest of the round in the last round of the fight that they had. And in the rematch, he came out and took it to Wilder like he did in the 12th round after getting up. People don't equate the two situations, but they are one part of one another. He took what he did at the end of that fight and brought it into the first round of the rematch. And Wilder didn't respond to that very well. And next thing you know, he was in trouble. He was getting hit. He was hurt. He was bleeding. He was down. It didn't go his way. And he got stopped. Well, that should be a tremendous shot to the ego and the psyche, because you've been doing that to so many other guys, 40-something guys, right? And now somebody does it to you. And in the meantime, you're not having a fight where you can bring your confidence back. You worked on a few things and you want to try something tactically and get your feet wet again. You're going right back in there with the guy that took everything from you. So it's more pressure than ever. And we haven't seen him win a fight technically, meaning that he boxed his way to victory, won rounds, stored rounds in the bank, where the fight, when it did go to the judges or something, unanimously he was ahead, and that's what it was. No. And he had fallen into that thing of his punch would always pull him through. Well, what if the guy can take your punch, which Fury has shown us he can do? There's some crazy people out here in life. You can hit them in the head with a softball bat, and they'll fight you still. It's like Fury is that guy. He really is.
I think he's like,
you're going to have to you're going to have to beat him with skill and guile. The power would help, but you need to be able to set that up. And Wilder hasn't shown us that he can do those type of things tactically. So when you put all of this together, you hope that Wilder could come back and get his back. You hope that he can become two-time champion and everything. But unless he just catches a guy with his best stuff, if it's a fight, I gotta go with Fury now because of what he's shown us he's capable of doing. Fury made adjustments in the second fight, and they were favorable for him. Regardless of what you want to say, controversial stuff, he still won. So what can Wilder do outside of just blazing up for a big punch to take the guy out? Can he put rounds in the bank? Can he outbox Fury for over 12 rounds where he wins the majority of the rounds, 7-5, 8-4? Huh? Can he do that? He hasn't shown us that. So where would your sensibilities really take you in this? This is why I say what I say.
Inside the ropes, do you have anything you want to put on this topic?
Bro, I think I'm not quite sure what your name is, but what you just said there, man, I mean, well, I can't really say anything else to add to that. I think you hit the nail on the head, bro. I think whoever's listening just got some valuable perspectives there, man. That was really good, man. But,
I'm Stormy D-Man, bro. Subscribe to my channel.
Yeah, I think Fury's just that guy, man. Like you say, you can hit him with a bat, but he's gonna get up, and he's got the skills and stuff. And I think, yeah, Wilder is psychologically quite damaged. You know, not quite damaged a lot. That's my opinion. I think he's really affected by everything that's happened. Exactly how you said, man. So yeah, that's my take, man. I can't really add anything that of value compared to what you just said, bro. That was really good.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what's the result of him working behind the scenes, because I mean Wilder, I mean he does a lot of screaming and yelling, and I think, like, I understand what you were saying, Stormy, about like if he was an even keel guy and he was the same before and after, then that would be fine. But the fact that he talked a lot before, not arrogant, but just about different issues and things like that, and now he's being quiet. I want to know why he's being quiet. I want to see if that reveals itself in the rematch.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too, guys. I support Wilder. He won me over with the things he was saying, like with the Radio Raheem interview and everything like that. But it was never lost on me his lack of boxing technique, which people hold in disdain. They say, well, they don't like him because he gets wild and that he doesn't do everything textbook or whatever. But he was a winner. He was a proven winner up to the point where he lost. Now what we have to see is a redemption arc. Is it in the cards for him? He may have maxed out. When I say maxed out, means that he got the most out of what he brings, and that a guy that's a bona fide boxer like Tyson Fury is a boxer. And let's not forget, Tyson Fury outboxed Vladimir Klitschko. So it's like that's not a fluke. Okay. So you have to bring more than just a big punch to a guy like Tyson Fury. You got to be able to set punches up. You got to be able to you set traps and things like that. And that's the aspect out of all those knockouts that I don't think Deontay has worked on, because what he was doing worked so well. But this is why coaches are supposed to bring more to you than what you do well, because you will always have an opportunity, if you're in there long enough, against a guy where you have to bring something different. You have to have more wrinkles. And for a guy that's just got a big punch, Fury is the type of fighter that he can take that away from you. You have to be able to do something else. And just banging your chest and saying I'm an alpha, that don't mean nothing. Because a smart man and a thinking man in that ring can outslick you and set you up for a trap. And next thing you know, it's lights out for you. I've seen it happen. This is the experience. Even me working in the gym with guys, I've seen this. You understand? And let's not forget this factor. Wilder has been stopped now. What if stopping him again is easier? Because once you make that chink in the armor like that, some guys are depleted by that. Some guys remain a little cautious, and then sometimes guys get a more emboldened behind that because they be like, "Oh, what's the worst can happen? I could get knocked out. Well, I've been knocked out before, so that's nothing new. I don't have to be afraid of that no more." And they take more chances. So it's like, remember, I'm laying out all the scenarios for you to substantiate why I'm saying what I'm saying. This is not the words of a hater. This is not somebody who is just disgusted and not wanting to support or this or that. And this is not anybody that's trying to go along lines with what was questionable, because I did mention there was some controversy, but that's not at the end of the day anything that you can change. It's water under the bridge. It's taking place. The fight is over. One man got the victory, one man got the defeat. But going into this third fight, there is so much riding that people are not thinking about, that they're going to this blindly and be shook up by another result because of what they're not looking at. If any of that I just said makes sense to you. So that's it.
Yeah. Let me look at Derek Bailey's question, and then we'll wrap things up. Is Wilder training with anyone right now? Did he get a new trainer or in addition to his camp? I don't know, actually. I don't. Nothing's came out really publicly, but I will say this though. I don't know why it takes people, just in life in general, to lose or fail before they actually start, changing things, or hindsight is 20/20. But I mean, we see the most used phrases in boxing. Losing was a blessing. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm a better fighter now than I was 2 or 3 months ago, and so on and so forth. So hopefully things, don't, repeat themselves, but we have to see what's going on, in the works. What are in the works for him, and what comes out in the fight.
And see, we both know, Tyrone, how you felt after that fight and
I was
the
shocked,
rematch.
disappointed, and embarrassed.
I know, and I felt you. I felt you, and remember me talking to you after that, because you were on my show one night, and I was on a couple of your panels too.
Yep.
And I was talking to you about this, and that's one of the things, because like I said, see, this is where the coach in me comes out. I know these things. I know the scenarios that can be faced. That's why I laid it out like I did just a moment ago. But what I wanted to ask you is this: what do you think about what I just had to offer? The fact that what I said and how I said my thoughts were, I see Fury winning again. And how does that shape your approach at looking at the fight going forward? Not necessarily what I said my opinion is, but how I laid the landscape out for what you need to be looking at.
Yeah, so if it was, well, we both know why talking about Wilder is a hot topic, but say it wasn't Wilder and say it was, a John Doe, I'd be in agreement with you.
But see, it's not John Doe, it's Wilder. And that's why I pointed out he hasn't come out and given any interviews. He hasn't talked to the people who are his supporters and the ones who support him and want best for him and want to see him win, and people who want to see him get revenge, or all of these things, because these are things that people can naturally feel. But as a man, but let me finish. But as a man who has not acknowledged any of that and who has just kind of went off into the sunset until a rematch comes, now you want me to come out. They say you sign for the fight. The fight is this date, and we're weeks before the fight, and you got press conferences and stuff. And now it's the week of the fight. You want me to come and support you now. You want me, because I said I supported you before the rematch. And even through what happened in the rematch, I look at you and I say, well, you can't win them all, champ. You'll be back. But you disappear off the horizon. You ever see the movie Superman 2?
Nah.
You never saw Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve. You never saw that.
Not the old Supermans. I've seen the one with the
okay.
one recently,
well, let me
Henry Cavill.
Okay, let me lay this out for you. In Superman 2, he took on 3 Kryptonians from his home planet. And they were fighting in the streets of Metropolis, right? And they were kicking Superman's butt and tearing up the city at the same time. So Superman suddenly turns and flies away. But during the midst of the battle, the Metropolis people were like, get him, Superman, they were like supporting him, right? But he was getting his butt beat, but they were supporting him. So he turned and he flew away. And at one point, it was a family of people, like the husband, the wife, and the kids, and they standing there and they see Superman fly away, and they say, don't leave us, Superman, where you going? That's what Deontay Wilder did to you. You understand? And you want him to come back. You want him to get his get back.
Yeah.
But, dude, what kind of champion are you that you don't even give anything to your fans, to a lifeline? It's like, you know what? I got humbled, guys, but I'm going to be back, and I'm going to be back stronger. I got to get myself together. Just a statement like that is cool, but it's been nothing, bro. It's been nothing. And the thing about it is, that tells me that there's a possibility of some resignation within him. Fury been talking crap, but Fury always talk crap. So it's like, there's no difference. He got a victory. He's never lost before in his career, but he's always talked crap. So even if he say the most disgusting and vile things right now, it still goes on par with what he's always done. He's always been a jerk out the mouth. But I've also said he's always been one of the best showmen in boxing because his gift for gab make people tune in. So Wilder has to become the guy who can close that trap, but not only close that trap, he's got to close the door on this guy. And that's a tall order because he's not the most technically proficient. He's not the most skilled boxer puncher out there. He's a guy that can knock you out with a sniper's right hand, but Fury's just that opponent who can take that away from him. So now show me what you're going to do. Now show me what else you can do to attain victory. And that's where the question lies. Like I said, I ain't trying to belittle it. I'm actually shedding light and enlightenment on the situation. Because when you look at boxing like this, then you can see so many other scenarios of how things will go. Remember, I called it on Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. I said the same thing, that Thurman had not beat fighters who were good enough than the fighters that Pacquiao beat. And that Thurman was going to underestimate Pacquiao, which he did out of his own admission, and then have no respect or ability to deal with a fighter like Pacquiao, skill-wise. At some point in the fight, he was fucking running from Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, are you serious? I called that because I knew what I was looking at from looking at boxing. See, when Floyd Mayweather entered the ring with Manny Pacquiao, There was nothing that Manny was going to do that Floyd had never seen before. However, Floyd could do things to Manny that Manny never seen before because Manny never fought a boxer who was as skilled as Floyd before. Now you see how that works?
Mhm.
If it's unfamiliar, then what do you do? Tyson Fury was the most skilled boxer that Deontay Wilder ever been in the ring with, ever. And he was bigger. And he had more length. And he couldn't put him away in the first fight. And let's not forget, after the knockdown, go back and watch that 12th round. When Fury got up, he won the rest of that round and had Wilder on his heels. So he basically took that and brought that into the next fight, became the aggressor from bell one. Yeah, Wilder tagged him with a long right hand that he caught him at the end of the punch in the first round. But that right hand that landed a few times in that first fight, it never really landed but once in the second fight. There's so much in the sweet science of boxing that people don't pay attention to. That's why Roger Mayweather used to say, people don't know shit about boxing. That's why he used to say that, because he understood as a trainer and former champion fighter himself that it ain't about what you see, out there, you looking at the fighters visit. You have to understand boxing, the sweet science, the essence of it, and understand about character of men who take shots on the chin for a living, and men who have to open up themselves from the inside to persevere and press forward through what they're facing. A lot of people can't identify with that.
Mhm.
So it's easy to be an armchair quarterback and make suggestions and things like that. But when you're in the heat of that and you understand exactly what a guy is going through, what he's feeling, what he's thinking, and things like that, that kind of brings a little different of an element to it. The best thing that would be for Fury to fight a fighter who can box too and who can outbox him. That will fuck with Fury's psyche. But Fury thinks he's the best boxer in the heavyweight division. So that would be difficult because someone will have to be on par with his skill level. Do you know, I didn't know a lot about Fury, hadn't really seen his fights until he fought Vladimir Klitschko. After he defeated Klitschko, I started going back and watching his other fights. So I wasn't following him. But when I was watching the fight with he and Klitschko, after 2 rounds, I said, Klitschko is going to lose this fight because I had never seen Fury before. I said, this guy has too much size and reach, and Klitschko can't get to him. So if Klitschko can't get to the guy and the guy can just jab him, keep him at the end of his punches all night long, this is going to be an ugly fight for Klitschko. And that's exactly what happened. And all I needed was 2 rounds to see this because I'm like, Fury can't get, Klitschko can't get past his jab. The guy can box. He's got this little herky-jerky movement and everything that you can't tell if it's a feint or if it's a shot that's coming or if he's having Tourette's or whatever, but it works. And so he made Vladimir freeze. Vladimir was like, I'm going to throw my punch. I'm going to throw my punch. But he never let his hands go. And that's what his corner kept telling him round after round. Man, you got to let your hands go. Let that right hand go. Let that right hand. He was scared to throw something because Fury was giving him all kind of looks in there. Something he hadn't seen before. And again, he had no answers. So, but this was what he should have known. At no point in the fight was Fury a threat to knock him out.
Never.
He didn't have the power. He didn't have the power. When a guy can't hurt you like that, that's when you can take the risk. That's when you can go in there and start imposing your will and everything. When you realize, because I mean, you tasted the power, right? You know, okay, it's round 5 or 6 now, okay? He done hit you with something at some point, and it's like, that's not like Ray Mercer or some of the other guys, Corey Sanders or whoever else that Klitschko fought. You know, it's time to step in there now. He never did that. And see, with Wilder, what happened was he was on top of Wilder so frequent in that rematch that Wilder couldn't get set. You see, and he's not an inside fighter. So when Fury got close, he had limited resources, what to do,
Yeah, Wilder.
and
Yeah,
that makes the difference.
he's a long range
You know,
fighter.
that makes the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to keep you at a certain range where he can do things and
want
be
that right
effective.
hand off.
Fury took down that distance and was right on top of him, and that makes all the difference in the world. If you need space to throw the right hand, but I ain't got giving you no space, what you gonna do? Keep the right hand in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I see more of that happening in the rematch. What is Wilder gonna do? Come out and start dancing around like Muhammad Ali? No, he don't even like to run. So how is he gonna do something like that? So everything I said, though it sounds like, man, Stormy, he ain't riding with Wilder. No, I ain't. I'm riding with Wilder, but I can see Wilder losing again the third fight, and I think he might. It'd be great for him to prove me wrong.
If
That
he
way
does,
I could be like, yeah.
I don't know. He's got to fight. He's got to fight like his shit's over if he don't win. He has to fight like that because it was embarrassing. Like, I mean, it was obvious that something was wrong with him, but I mean, I'm sitting there with one or two decafs, seeing Wilder. I mean, one guy seen him. He saw the first Fury fight with me. He was a decaf, and he saw the second one. And the other dude had never really seen Wilder fight before. It was his first fight, and they started clowning me because of what I said how the fight was going to go. I thought Wilder was just going to steamroll this guy because, to be honest with you, I mean, I didn't think much of Fury then, and I still don't think much of Fury now. Even if he beats Wilder 100 times, I really do not think much of Fury. I don't really think much of the division.
Yeah, there's not a lot happening in the division.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But this is the thing. This is where Wilder disappointed me in the rematch. Do you remember how he knocked out Luis Ortiz in the second fight in their rematch?
Yeah.
Do you remember just before knocking Luis Ortiz out, Wilder was starting to throw these left hooks, and they were catching Luis Ortiz to the body on top of the head. So Luis Ortiz started moving over toward Deontay's right-hand side because those left hooks were formidable. They had some heat on them. You know what I mean? So when he back near the ropes and Ortiz was coming at him and he turned off the ropes and he shot that feint of a jab because it wasn't a full extended jab. It was like a blinding jab to put across his face so he couldn't see the right hand, and he came right behind it with the right hand. Just like when Michael Moore got knocked out by George Foreman.
Yeah, same way.
It was almost the same exact way.
Yeah.
I said after that fight, I was like, Deontay has learned how to box because that wasn't a mistake. It wasn't something that just happened. He set him up. Where was that against Fury? Because he stood there with confidence and did what he did. Did he give Fury too much respect? Possibly. But you have to be who you are at all times, especially in that ring. And when if he has stood his ground against Fury and shot his jab in Fury's chest or in his mouth, in his mug, make him draw that line in the sand to make him respect something, that when you come across this jab, you got to be ready for something. He didn't do that. And so therefore Fury comes on top of him. Don't give him a chance to throw that right hand. He either threw it and it wouldn't have nothing on it, or Fury would dart out of the way and he would overextend and it would miss. See, you got to be able to do something else. You got to be able to change it up. And that's what Deontay didn't do And so Fury now riding the wave of the success that he's had. He thinks he's smarter than Wilder. He thinks he has better skills than Wilder. He has a victory over Wilder, not a draw. He has a victory over him. And that does a tremendous amount to boost up his confidence in himself, along with being a two-time world champion and everything. So that puts him in a certain place mentally, psychologically. And Wilder not taking a tune-up fight, not working on some stuff where he can come back and get his feet wet in the ring all over again and learn some new things and have some new wrinkles, is going right back in there against the guy that whooped his ass. That's a deficit that he's working from. And I'm just not confident that he's going to turn that around unless he goes out there when the bell rings and he walks to that man and he throws everything he got and hit him with a 1, 2, 3 or whatever and puts his lights out and it's over like that. But even if that happens, he didn't do it with skill. He will have done it with something that was of a physical nature, and Fury may have gotten caught or something like that. Getting caught is one thing, but being outfought, being outboxed, being outfoxed, that's something different. And that's the wrinkle we need to see from Wilder. And I'm not sure he has it.
Yeah, hopefully something works out to get this fight, because he needs it, bad. We need it bad. I'm gonna wrap.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Is there anything you want to talk about before we go?
Well, no, I'm glad we had a chance to talk about this. I had taken some time off from my shows. Like, normally I would actually be on my Friday night chop session right now, but I've taken some time off on my channel. I've been uploading a few videos, but I needed the rest, man. I was doing a lot, my streams and the stuff, the Three Wise Men and stuff like that. So I needed some time off just to like get my rest and get my faculties together. So, but I appreciate being on here with you guys. Salute to
yeah, man. Thanks for coming on
with us. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you having me on. And you guys are always welcome on my channel as well. And appreciate everybody that's out there that decided to listen to what I had to say in the chat. I think Derek Bailey was riding with us.
Yeah, Derek Bailey. Yep.
Show. So, but yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Yep, man, definitely. I'm gonna go back on and watch that Fab Five video in your archives.
Yeah, check that out, please do. And if you didn't see the other ones that I put up, check those out too, because I put up about 4 videos this week. I got the Five. I got something on Effie Ajaba that I dropped yesterday, and then I did something on Tiafimo and Lomachenko as well. Just little 5-minute videos. That's what they are. They're not real long at all. So it's like, just to let people know I could still do videos and, talk about something briefly. It's just something to stir conversation up, about these fights and fighters. That's all.
Everybody go salute my man Stormy, man. He makes great content. He works a ton. I haven't posted. He's making me look bad. I haven't put a video on my channel in months, so he's doing great. Laws, Inside the Ropes, who was on. Shout out to Derek Bailey, man, for being with us the entire time. Lawrence Williams. Who else was in here? Yeah, hopefully I'm not missing everybody. Just everybody take care and stay safe, and have a good weekend.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Tyrone. The 4 videos are the first one is the Salt of the Sea. That's the one with Tiafimo and Lomachenko. The second one is the second one is the Pride Before the Fall, and that's my thoughts on Tyson and Jones Jr. Then it's what's next for Effie Ajaba, and then the one today is the Fab Five, talking about the welterweights. So yeah, those are 4 videos, and they're all about 5 to 7 minutes long each. So that's it.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna check this out now actually. So I gotta go to the gym in a little bit. But man, thanks for
Okay.
getting on and just staying the full time with us. And we had some great conversations. I do want to get into like the showtime schedule on another show or over the weekend or something or on another live and talk about that. But yeah,
Sure.
it was a great talk.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. And tell
Mhm.
Derek Bailey to go over there to my channel and check those videos out too. Since he's hanging in there with us on this, he can check those videos out and leave a comment, man, on the
Yep.
videos. That's how I know you guys are checking me out. So have a good evening, bro, and
Yep.
I'll catch you on the next
All right, everybody. Peace out. Take care.
one. All right. Peace. Later.